what really happens to the soul after death. As you hear the words from a book that has been forbidden for over 1,200 years, you may find yourself drawn to an ancient revelation that promises to shed light on this question. The forbidden book, which has never been fully accepted, presents us with a hidden truth. Death is not an end, but a door. It is a sacred transition that leads us to new realms beyond human understanding. Just take a moment to think. What if death were merely a journey to an unknown place, a space where the soul transforms and is reborn? This is what invites us to explore. Death, indeed, is a mystery, a painful yet beautiful passage where the soul says goodbye to its physical shell. In that moment, the essence of being breaks free from the constraints of the body. Can you imagine how many experiences the soul carries? What feelings, fears, and desires will accompany it on this journey? After the final breath, the doors open, and the soul enters a new domain. However, this transition is not straightforward. In the 13 days that follow, every step becomes a challenge. Picture the soul being tested, confronted with memories and experiences gathered throughout its life. Each emotion serves as a guide or an obstacle, depending on the clarity the soul can maintain. Thus, during this time, we come to understand that the life lived echoes in the beyond. The mind, in this ethereal state, can easily get lost in illusions. It's easy to be swept away by the fears that death provokes, which is why awakening is so crucial. Recognizing the true nature of reality helps us decide whether we will seek liberation or, on the contrary, allow ourselves to be trapped in a cycle of reincarnation. Therefore, when reflecting on death, think also about the life you choose to lead. Your journey does not end, it transforms, revealing a path that unfolds in the depths of eternity. After leaving the body, the soul enters a sacred period, a time of 13 days that, according to ancient wisdom, is filled with challenges and lessons. Imagine this phase as an intense spiritual test, where your decisions influence not only what lies ahead, but also reveal what truly resides within the depths of your essence. During these precious days, the soul navigates through an emotional journey where old memories and desires emerge as shadows and lights. The life experiences you left behind do not fade away. They become brushes that paint the landscape of your post-death journey. Every action, every thought, and every emotion resonate like echoes in a vast abyss of possibilities. What you have lived and the choices you made will all become part of the challenge. But don't be mistaken. This is not a simple exam or a harsh judgment. It's a time for clarity and reflection, where the illusions of the mind dance in the light of who you truly are. The resistances you encounter in this state may present themselves as monsters or as guides, depending on how you face this moment. The courage to look and accept what comes to the surface can lead you to liberation or return you to the cycle of reincarnation. If during these intervals of trials and tribulations you choose love and understanding, the soul can close the doors of pain and open those of wisdom, recognizing that everything is temporary and that you are the creator of your reality. Can transform these days into a rebirth, where your inner light shines even brighter. And so, the final decision draws near. Will you choose to break free from the cycle of lives or revisit the lessons you have yet to learn? Here, ancestral wisdom teaches us that the power lies in your hands, in your choices, and in your capacity to love. Imagine for a moment that every action you take is like a stone thrown into a still lake. What happens when the stone hits the water? Waves form, spread out, and continue to echo. In the life of the soul, every small choice also creates echoes that resonate beyond this world, shaping what lies ahead. The actions and emotions you collect now carry extraordinary weight on the journey of the soul after death. When life comes to an end, there isn't a blank slate waiting for you in the afterlife. On the contrary, your soul carries with it the imprints of the life you've lived, your joys, sorrows, loves, and pains. This brings up a powerful question. How would you like those marks to appear in eternity? It's the intensity of our feelings and intentions that shapes the spiritual path after death. During the 13 days following your last breath, the soul doesn't simply wander in a void. Instead, it faces the reflections of who it was during its earthly journey. These days are challenging, acting as a bridge between what was and what could be. If your actions were guided by love and compassion, your passage will be softened by those same feelings. However, if you left trails of fear or anger, know that you will be confronted with those emotions. What you experience during this time is not a fate, but an opportunity, a chance to reflect and learn. You can see these experiences not as monstrous family members, but as reminders of what needs to be healed and transformed. Every impulse, every desire, and every breath matters as they shape the clouds that can either obscure or illuminate the light of your truth. Therefore, as you live, remember that each gesture is an echo, and each thought is a new wave. The choices you make are not just for today. They are seeds that will plant the future of your soul. The love you give, the pain you transform, and the truth you seek shape not only this life, but the lives yet to come. What echo do you wish to leave in eternity? The transition after death is a delicate moment filled with possibilities. Imagine being in a dark room where every shadow could either be a friend or an enemy. This serves as the perfect metaphor for the illusions our minds create during this process. When you look closely, you'll realize that the mind, with its traps and fears, can become your greatest adversary along this journey. In the days following death, the soul goes through a series of visions and emotions that reflect the life lived and the resistances faced. As you enter this new state, you may feel an urge to flee from certain thoughts or images that arise. These are the deep-rooted fears and regrets coming to the surface. Each one is like an echo from the past, drawing attention to unresolved stories. These mental impressions can appear as thick fog, making it hard to see what truly matters. In fact, when you recognize these illusions, you have already begun the significant journey of awakening. The visions you encounter in the days after death are not sentences, but rather invitations. Invitations to self-discovery. Do you recall a moment in your life when fear paralyzed you? That tight feeling in your chest, that uncertainty about what to do? That sensation, which can feel overwhelming, is just a part of human consciousness, an obstacle you need to overcome. When the mind screams with doubts and anxieties, it's time to take a deep breath and look through the eyes of someone who can see beyond the storm. Ah, dear traveler of the soul, every fear, every sorrow can transform into freedom if you choose to face them. Only by allowing yourself to see through these illusions can you truly begin to understand the pure light that exists within you. This light, the true nature of who you are, is not overshadowed. It shines brightly when the mind finds calm. So when the shadows appear, remember, they are merely reflections of your being, not your true self. By embracing this truth, you can find the path to liberation, and in transcending these illusions, reach a state of unshakable peace. Are you ready to confront your own shadows and discover the light that has always been within you? Life is like a grand book, and each choice you make writes a new paragraph. When the time comes to take your last breath, this narrative transforms into a journey that begins to unfold. What happens to your soul? You may feel the freedom of the heavens around you, or you might sense the weight of cycles you haven't managed to leave behind. After death, the soul faces a profound dilemma: to choose between liberation or to remain caught in a cycle of reincarnations. This is a decision that resonates through time, shaping the destiny of your essence. Doubt lingers in the air like a fog that obscures the clarity of your true nature. The Bardo Thodol wisely observes that during the 13 days after death, the soul navigates through challenges and tests. These days are crucial, where each thought, feeling, and action resonate like echoes in a vast expanse. Resistance arises, and the mind's illusions whisper secrets that further complicate this choice. Have you ever stopped to consider how much your actions have shaped who you are? Each love, every anger, every mistake, and success, all of these weigh on the soul's scale. If you lived your life connecting with the essence of love and compassion, you've likely found light. However, if your choices were driven by fear and greed, you might find yourself trapped in the web of reincarnation, seeking resolutions that may never come. This is where the great decision emerges. Spiritual liberation comes from recognizing your inner light, while reincarnation is merely the repetition of the same cycles, always hiding the brilliance that rightfully belongs to you. You have the power to choose not only between living or dying, but also between freeing yourself or remaining in an endless dance of learning. As you breathe and live, each moment serves as a rehearsal for that decision. What fears are you willing to face? Which loves are you ready to nurture? By exploring these answers, you become a more conscious traveler on the journey of the soul, prepared to choose the path of liberation if you wish. Because in the end, the true question isn't just what happens after life, but rather how will you choose to live now? When we talk about the mysteries of the soul and what happens after we leave our bodies, there is knowledge that has been hidden for centuries. This knowledge, revealed in a forbidden book, shows us that death is not simply an end, but a magical transformation. Have you ever thought about the 13 days following death? This is a sacred time when the soul faces challenges, tests, and the opportunity to grow in wisdom. In this ancient book, the revelations teach us that the soul goes through profound experiences, filled with lessons that can shape its destiny. Think of the journey as a dance between light and shadows, where each step the soul takes can lead it to new understanding or to the repetition of old patterns. The illusions of the mind appear like vast fogs, obscuring the vision of truth. It's as if we are constantly looking through a fogged-up glass, unable to see the beauty of who we truly are. However, when the mind finally awakens, it realizes that these illusions are simply that, illusions. And here arises the great choice, to follow the light of liberation, or to be carried along by the familiar cycle of reincarnation. It's crucial to understand that the life you are living now directly influences this process. Every action, every thought, and every feeling shapes the experiences the soul will have after death. You can be like a gardener, planting seeds that will bloom in the future. Will they be flowers of freedom or thorns of pain? That is a decision that rests in your hands. The secrets of the lost book speak to us about the importance of being aware, even in the midst of the unknown. It teaches us to face the shadows, to untie the bonds that hold us back, and to embrace the possibility of awakening. What will you choose? Will you set yourself free, or bind yourself once more? Wisdom is within your reach. You just need the courage to look within and follow the call of your truth. Imagine an eternal cycle, like the changing seasons and flowing rivers. Death, just like winter, is not an end, but a transformation. Have you ever considered that death might be a significant ally on your journey? It's a moment that many view with fear, but what if I told you it's here to teach you about the value of life? When we see death as an integral part of life, we begin to understand that it's not a monster to be feared, but a teacher inviting us to reflect on our choices, our loves, and our experiences. You know that flutter of unease you feel when thinking about death? How about transforming it into a spark of courage? Life, with all its pathways, becomes even more precious when we realize that one day all of this will eventually come to an end. In the 13 days that follow death, the soul navigates experiences that reflect the emotions and actions of its life. These experiences serve as mirrors, showing us what we have lived. If life has been filled with love, gratitude, and learning, those days can turn into a brightly illuminated lesson for the soul. However, if there are regrets and fears, those same days can morph into a labyrinth of illusions. You may wonder, how can I prepare for this? The answer lies in how you live today. Every choice, every act of kindness, and every moment of reflection shapes your future experiences. So rather than avoiding the conversation about death, why not embrace it? Start viewing endings as new beginnings. Just as a flower doesn't fear the dropping of its petals, you too can see death as a new opportunity to blossom. When you look closely, you'll realize that all fear is born in the mind. The mind creates frightening images, but remember, all of this is just a projection. The real questions are not about what happens after death, but about how you live while you're here. Every moment is a chance to love, connect, and grow. Death, then, can become a wise friend, guiding you to value what truly matters: love, compassion, and authenticity. What if you start seeing death not as an enemy, but as an ally in the grand journey that is life? As we observe the journey of the soul, we realize that every experience is an opportunity for transformation. Death, far from being an end, opens doors for consciousness to expand and renew itself. Imagine for a moment your spirit freed from the shackles that once bound it. Here, in this realm of possibilities, perceptions shift, and the true essence of life begins to make sense. In the moments that follow the passage, the soul undergoes trials, each one shaping and refining its understanding. These challenges are like a lizard shedding its skin, leaving behind what no longer serves. So during the 13 days, each vision and emotion becomes a mirror, reflecting your own being. It's as if life itself is conducting a retrospective of your soul, asking, who are you really in light of everything you've experienced? The transformation of consciousness isn't limited to the moment of death. It's a continuous process that begins while you're still breathing. Each decision, every act of love or fear, resonates through eternity and shapes the man or woman you become. Your life is the fertile soil where the seeds of your spirituality blossom. By changing how you perceive life and death, a new light shines through you. A light that renews, heals, and transforms. So as you look at the illusions of the mind, remember, this is all a dance of being. The resistance you feel may simply be an echo of old beliefs you can release. The final decision that the soul makes, whether it be liberation or reincarnation, is largely influenced by how you have lived. Are you ready to make the necessary changes now? With a new perspective, it becomes possible to gain a fuller understanding of what it means to exist. Each step you take toward understanding and acceptance is a step toward freedom. It's as if every heartbeat pulses with the certainty that transformation is possible. Therefore, as you reflect on your own journey, ask yourself, how can I evolve? What does my soul wish to release? This is the invitation from the universe, extending with every step you take. By recognizing the truth within you, you embrace the transformation of consciousness, not just for yourself, but for everyone who crosses your path. Let the light of knowledge guide your journey, and watch as your life becomes a testament to the beauty of transformation. At this moment, I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. Imagine standing before a vast ocean of possibilities, where each wave brings a new reflection on your own journey. Life, as we know, is an eternal cycle, where death is not an end, but a magical passage. How about thinking of death as a friend who comes to guide us to a place of transformation? After the final breath, the soul begins a process lasting 13 days, a journey of challenges and discoveries. This is a crucial time where the essence of who you truly are is tested. Every emotion, choice, and lived thought resonates strongly in this space. Have you ever paused to reflect on how your actions shape your destiny, not just here, but also in the dimensions you have yet to explore? During this passage, many tests arise. The mind may weave illusions, casting shadows where there was once light. They might seem real, but they are merely reflections of your own consciousness. At this point, the greatest challenge reveals itself, recognizing that your resistances and fears are creations of your mind. You can break free from these chains and awaken to the truth that has always been within you. And so, we arrive at the dilemma of the final choice, liberation or reincarnation. Imagine finding yourself in a serene moment where every pain and desire dissolves like clouds in the sky. The decision to remain among the mists of life or to let go and live as pure essence rests in your hands. What would you choose? With every choice you make, you take a step toward the truth that illuminates eternity. Remember, you are not just what you have lived, you are also what is yet to come. The journey never ends, it simply transforms, much like the light that shines eternally. If these reflections resonate with you, why not consider subscribing to the channel? Share in the comments what you think about the soul's journey and how death shapes your life. This is a space for us to learn together as wisdom becomes more vibrant when shared.